Most men over 50 believe they would know immediately if a woman was interested in them. They imagine attraction arriving with obvious signals, a direct compliment, a clear invitation, something unmistakable that removes all possibility of doubt. But mature women almost never work that way. At this stage of life, she is not going to put herself in a position where rejection feels public and obvious. She's not going to say what she means directly. Instead, she asks questions. Ordinary sounding questions that seem like conversation, but are actually something far more deliberate. The problem is that most men answer these questions at face value. They give practical, logical answers and move on. The woman walks away wondering whether he was interested or simply not paying attention. He walks away believing they just had a pleasant conversation, and the opportunity quietly disappears. This happens far more often than most men realize, not because they lack confidence, not because they are too old, because the language of attraction changes with age, and most men were never taught what it sounds like now. The first question sounds like casual curiosity. A woman smiles and asks, "Do you live alone?" She already has a sense of your situation. She's not conducting a background check. What she is really trying to understand is whether there is space in your life for another person, whether your world is sealed off or still open. The question is about access, not logistics. Many men answer too literally. They confirm they live alone and move on. Others over-explain, talking about previous arrangements, why things changed, the layout of their home. She listens politely, but the moment loses its energy. A stronger response stays open and calm. Something like, "Yes, I've created a space I enjoy, but I keep it open for the right company." That one sentence answers her question, and something much deeper at the same time. The second question appears to be about weekends. She asks, "What does a typical Saturday look like for you?" On the surface, it sounds like small talk. Underneath it is a woman painting a picture of your life and quietly placing herself inside it to see how it feels. She's checking whether your routine has room, whether your energy is alive, whether being around you might feel like expansion or like interruption. Men who answer with a rigid, unchanging schedule communicate something she was not hoping to hear. The better answer shows that your life has texture while leaving obvious space for someone worth adjusting for. The third question carries more weight than it appears. She pauses, looks at you thoughtfully and asks, "Have you ever been truly in love?" She's not asking for a history lesson. She is asking whether your emotional world is still alive, whether you are capable of the kind of depth she is hoping to find. A man who answers with bitterness or who launches into a long explanation of past failures tells her something about where he is today rather than where he has been. A simple, honest answer that shows you have loved, learned, and remained open is worth more than any detailed account. "Yes, and it taught me more about myself than anything else ever did," says everything she needed to hear. The fourth question is one of the most revealing she can ask. Quietly, with genuine curiosity, she says, "What do you miss most about being in a relationship?" This is not a trap. She is not looking for reasons to pity you. She is listening for emotional honesty and for signs that you remember what real connection felt like, that you valued it, that you are not someone who has quietly given up on it. Men who answer with complaints about past relationships close the door. Men who answer with something genuine, the comfort of shared silence, having someone to notice the small things, tell her that the part of them that knows how to love is still awake. The fifth question sounds philosophical, but arrives with real intention. She looks at you and asks, "Are you happy where you are in life?" She is measuring your emotional temperature, checking whether you carry contentment or bitterness. A man who is settled and still moving forward creates an energy she can safely move toward. A man who is still fighting old battles or quietly grieving a different life creates an energy she will instinctively avoid. The answer does not need to be perfect. It needs to be honest and forward-facing. I've built something I'm genuinely proud of. There's still plenty I'm looking forward to. Tells her your story is still being written, and that matters more than she will ever say out loud. The sixth question appears out of nowhere in an otherwise easy conversation. She asks, do you have people around you? Close friends? She's not asking about your social calendar. She's checking your emotional health. A man with genuine connections, with people who know him well and still choose to be near him, is a man who knows how to maintain trust and care over time. That tells her something important about who you are when no one is watching. A man who says he has never really needed anyone gives her pause. Not because she needs you to be popular, because she needs to know that closeness is something you have practiced and not something she would have to teach. The seventh question is the most significant one. It often arrives near the end of a good conversation, with a slight pause before it. She asks, what are you still hoping to experience? This is not a question about bucket lists. She is asking whether desire still lives in you, whether you wake up with something pulling you forward, whether life for you is still becoming something, or whether it has already become only what it is. A man who answers this question with genuine aliveness, who speaks about something he actually still wants, still moves toward, still gets excited thinking about, becomes someone worth moving toward in return. I heard about a man who met a woman during an evening lecture. They spent an hour talking afterward, and the conversation stayed easy the entire time. Near the end, she asked, what are you still hoping to experience? He thought for a moment and said, honestly, I want to spend real time somewhere I've never been, with someone worth going there with. Her expression changed. Not because the answer was clever, because she recognized it as honest. And honest, from a man who has lived enough to know the difference between real and performed, is the rarest thing a mature woman encounters. 7 questions, all of them ordinary on the surface, all of them carrying something much more important underneath. She was not making conversation. She was opening a door and waiting to see whether you would walk through it, whether you would notice, whether you understood what she was actually asking. The men who recognize these moments do not have to try harder. They simply have to listen at a different level than the words. And once you know what to listen for, you will never miss the invitation again.